Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Good morning and welcome back to another episode of Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider Show here on Woodward Sports Network. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. As always, with me, Matt Broder.
Good morning.
Terry Foster. And this morning, we have JB and Kool-Aid help making the show possible, as well as Les Stanford.
There we go.
Thanks so much for sponsoring the show. We would not be a show without you. Everyone, deep breath. We have a show to get into today.
That's right.
And I want the chat to just all remain calm. Remain calm.
That was
carry
a tough
on.
one. That was a tough one on Sunday.
Calm. One of the reasons I told you the Bears are going to win this game is because we need a little bit of chaos in this town. Mm-hmm. And we were due for chaos again. It seems to happen every 2 to 3 weeks. So what it does, it puts doubt in your mind that the Lions can't complete this thing, but they will.
They will. They will. It's hard to pull anything. It's hard to pull too much good out of that game, but I'm with you. I have faith. I have confidence. These next 4 games. Also, the Giants did us a nice little favor last night, taking down the Packers. That helps those odds. Little Tommy DeVito. Little Tommy. Yeah, that was huge for the Lions.
Mozzarella.
Have a little pasta tonight?
Something like that. But there is a lot to clean up.
Some chicken cutlets like
You know
his
what?
mom makes for him.
Thank you for saying that, because that pisses me off. What? This is what is this? Week
Whoa.
15, headed into 15.
Okay,
Yeah.
week 15, you've had training camp, you've had all kinds of camps, you've had all these practices, you've had 15 weeks of football, and you're still saying, no, we've got to clean this stuff up. Maybe you can't clean it up. Maybe this is who you are.
That's what I worry about.
Can't be cleaned up.
Yeah. I worry about that on the defense. The offense played horrible against the Bears, but I don't worry about them. Even though that offense won't be able to win anything, I don't worry about them as much. But that defense, even if they clean up some of the things, even if Aaron Glenn gets a little creative, I worry that they're talented enough that they're able to make those fixes matter in the game. I hope so. We'll see.
You guys are sounding very pessimistic right now. So why don't we just go into the pessimistic and optimistic review from our show on Sunday. So Terry had said that the Bears really want to win this game since they blew the last one. So have the Bears picked up their game since they last met the Lions? There we go. Or have the Lions regressed?
Well, the Lions have regressed. No question about the offensive line is not as good as it was before. Mm-hmm. They're still running the ball pretty well. I'm seeing holes in the run defense. The run defense has been spectacular this year, but now, last few games, people can run on them a little bit. So I think they've regressed a little bit. Now, the Bears came out with their pants on fire because when you lose a game the way you did against the Lions, you're pissed off. Mm-hmm. And you can reach athletes. A lot of times if you win and you look bad, you talk to athletes, they're looking at you like, oh, hey, whatever, bro, we won. So I don't know. But when you lose that way, you got your full attention. And I thought the Bears were going to come in this with their pants on fire, and they're going to do everything they could to beat the Lions because that was embarrassing the way they lost at Ford Field.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was almost looking like that game was heading to be almost exactly like the game at Ford Field with the Bears up. They were 19-13 at some point there I believe it was the third quarter, and then that fumbled snap happened. It was a fumbled snap. And that was really the nail in the coffin almost. That wasn't the end of the game. There was probably a quarter and a half left, but that really just that changed the game. That led that second half, which wasn't a good half for the Lions. Maybe one of the worst halves of the year. That turned it completely around, and they sort of went down after that.
What was the biggest boo-boo? Was it the fumble snap or the Aiden Hutchinson brain fart?
I think it's a fumbled snap, although looking back on it, that Aiden Hutchinson brain fart, proved to be the nail in the coffin. It's one of those things we don't expect Aiden Hutchinson to do very often. That play doesn't bring up good memories of old Lions teams, but because it was Aiden Hutchinson, I don't worry about that. But it came at the worst possible time. I mean, even it was Cole Kmet, the Bears tight end. He came out and said we weren't going to snap that ball. Like, we were just trying to draw them offsides, and they did. And then we didn't have a safety over the top of Jerry Jacobs. And DJ Moore, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, beat him and caught a wide open touchdown. It was a failure. All three groups on this team, the offense, defense, and special teams, did not play well. And at that moment, they had a complete breakdown.
Again, very pessimistic. So let's turn this around and get to the optimistic, because it's kind of in line with the conversation you were just having.
Yeah.
I said that Goff had too much to prove going into harsh weather and had to have a good performance. And then you had piggybacked off of that and said that those were just 2 bad games that Goff had. The one before kind of showed more of his ability. Mm-hmm. But 2 interceptions and a fumbled snap.
Yeah, it's turning into a pattern, and that's worrisome. It looks like the Goff of old. I don't believe this is going to stick with him. I don't believe he's going to play as poorly as he had in this last couple games, but it has now turned into multiple games in a row with multiple turnovers. Even those interceptions, which were on, I think, 3rd and long and 4th and long, they're still interceptions. They're still turnovers. And as a quarterback, I even hold a lot of the penalties not 100% on him, but that's part of your job as a quarterback. You got to will your team to win and make sure that they're prepared. The offensive line had a bad game, and there were a lot of penalties that happened at inopportune times that he just wasn't able to come back in the cold weather in Chicago, down, coming back from a deficit. So it was not the best all-around game, and it wasn't from Goff either.
We're going to get into Goff a little bit later in the show and more of those details, but if you had to give one word to describe how you felt about Goff's performance, one word, what would it be this game?
I don't know if this is a word, but how about, Is that a word?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll count it.
Yeah.
I like it. Matt?
I like it too. It was mediocre. It actually wasn't as
One word.
Oh, no analysis. Got you.
No.
I'm going to get jumped all over.
He doesn't know how to follow
directions.
No, it is one word. I know it.
Yeah. Just say,
That is how we played.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with worrisome.
Okay. Why?
I'm not going to give an answer to that because I don't cheat. I'm on this new not cheating streak, so I got to keep that going.
Something for the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gift for everyone.
If this is a different person here, I'm all for it. I'm not going to press it. She did her job.
All right. It's like Ohio State, no cheating.
Oh, God.
I can't get into college football talk because we know what road this will lead down for me. So, moving ahead.
The Lions show, not Florida State.
Moving ahead. They clearly need more aggression because they were looking a little bit weak out there. Kaminsky kind of spoke to this and getting their swagger back. Where are they going to get this from?
Ndamukong Suh, right? Right,
well,
Terry?
Yeah, Ndamukong Suh looks like he's not coming here.
He's not.
And like we said the last show, Ndamukong Suh reached out to him. I'm available. I can give you 25, 30 snaps a game, which means he can give you 15 to 20 snaps a game. But, this leads me to my fable. This is what's happened with Ndamukong Suh. Once upon a time, there were some old hens, and they were making some cakes. So the young hen says, boy, those cakes sure do look good. So the old hen said, hey, little hen, would you like to help make the bread? And she's like, no, I'm good. And they said, well, would you like to crack some eggs so we can get this thing going?
Murder.
And the little hen said, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do this. So then they said, can you help us put the little cakes into the oven? And the little hen was like, no, I'm not doing it. So after the cakes are baked and everything and they ice them and everything, then the little hen was like, whoa, can I have some of that cake? And they're like, no, you didn't help out. I think that's the same thing happened with Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh, when he was a Lion, he was a little hen, and as soon as he could get out, he didn't want to help them bake the cakes. He's like, I'm gone. I'm going to go try to win my Super Bowls. I'm going to Tampa. I'm going to Los Angeles. I'm going to be anywhere except here because I don't want to be in Detroit. Now that the Lions are cooking and they got some little cakes in the oven, now Ndamukong Suh wants a piece of it, and they're like, nah, we good. So to me, perfect. That's what happened with Ndamukong Suh.
That was perfect. Do you think the mama and papa hens, do you think could that come down all the way from Sheila Hamp, or is this a Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes making sure that the culture stays intact? We don't want the same old Lions back in the locker room at all.
I want to give my 2 cents here. I don't even think it has to go to Sheila Hamp. I think she's like kind of the last line of defense, but I think from Dan Campbell's comments, it seemed like him and Brad Holmes had already looked at this situation and said, nah. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But this is a continuation of the Lions being vindictive of players who want out of here. So I think that's part of it. Sheila Hamp, from my understanding, is trying to stay out of everything.
Yeah.
Because she knows that her dad would interfere, and sometimes it wouldn't work out for the team because he thought he knew what was going on. She said, look, I hired y'all. You do your thing. I'm out of here. So even though it seems like the culture of the Lions is a continuation from 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, this seems like a Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell thing. Like, no, we good. But, I think they're working out of fear. We all hear about the culture. We have to hit the right guys, the right moment, at the right price, at the right this. In the National Football League, if you really want to win, you have to have 4 or 5 assholes in that locker room. Mm-hmm. You have to have 4 or 5 guys that when the media goes in there, like, I don't want to deal with him today.
Yes.
Because this guy's a jerk. It's not a pretty league. It's not we're all buddies, in that locker room. And, Ndamukong Suh is not what he used to be. He's 36 years old. I'm not sure if he's the answer, but it's another brick in the wall where someone has volunteered to come here help the Lions, someone who has pedigree, and the Lions have said no. Everyone always assumes people just don't want to come here, and part of that is true. But there's been people who have offered to help the Lions. And Ndamukong Suh's the latest. Bill Parcells. Mm-hmm.
Joe Montana.
Or you had me saying that. Joe Montana. But
from the Water Boy.
Denny Green. Randall Cunningham. Said, I want to play with Barry. I want to play for the Lions. And the Lions are like, nah, you too old. Or, no, we got this covered. I mean, look. Bill Parcells offers to come here. You know what the Lions said? Nope, we good. We got Matt Millen. But you know why they don't want to deal with Bill Parcells? Because Bill Parcells would come here, kick it over desk, saying, this is how we're going to do it. I don't believe in your ways. And they didn't want to deal with that. And maybe this is the same with Ndamukong Suh. The Lions have a history. They don't want to deal with strong personalities.
Looking back on this Bears game, don't you think that's exactly what they could use? Like that game needed a little extra edge, someone vicious there in the middle. Don't you think he'd be perfect in a situation like Sunday's game?
I'm not sure about that. 10 years ago, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Ndamukong old now. I mean, just because he thinks he can do it, we haven't seen him in almost 2 years.
True.
So we don't know if he's been, eating Dairy Queen Sundays for the last 2 years, or
he'd be probably the youngest free agent we've brought in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And then they bring in another old guy.
Yeah. We're raising the average age of this team up a little higher, just trying to get that experience in before the playoffs, which hopefully they continue to sneak in and get that 3 seed.
All I have to say is, can't have your cake and eat it too.
That's true.
See,
You're so right about that Little hen.
And that's how we're going to close out this segment. Stick with us. We'll be right back with a new segment going on here because we don't have any game balls to give out. So what are we going to do in the second segment? Stick with us and find out.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street on Woodward Sports Network, your Lions Insider Show, here to kick off your Tuesday morning the right way. We're going to do our best to talk about a Lions L here, but we have to be strategic. We have to, look at what we're working with and make adjustments, guide the Lions into the right adjustments, right? But we're going to take a little temperature check here for this new segment, which we're calling On a Scale of 1 to 10. Here we are on a scale of a 1 to 10. So I'm going to pose some questions here for the chat, for Terry, for Matt, and see where everyone is feeling on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Okay. Kicking things off. And you can elaborate here. This is not my one.
Okay. One-word answer. 9. 4.
For everything.
Starting off strong. Where is your confidence level in the Lions right now?
I'm gonna go with a 7. And last night it was a 6.5, but I'm gonna round up. I'm gonna round up this morning. I think I'm pretty confident they can turn this around. I have worries about their defense. I have less worries about their offense, and I'm pretty confident that because they control their own destiny in these next 4 games, they'll be able to not just sneak into the playoffs, but get that number 3 seed and at least have one home game where you can start to get in your playoff rhythm. There's not a lot from the last game that really should give me that optimism, but I do think they're going to turn it around. But it's a 7.
5. You guys had a wise old man on this show earlier in the season who said the Lions are different. They're a different team, but they're going to have a successful season. But it's going to come with some anxiety. It's going to be tough at some points. You're going to lose your confidence. And the Lions are doing exactly what the rest of the NFC is doing.
Right.
San Francisco loses 3 in a row. They're crap. There's nothing they can do. Philadelphia gets mollywopped twice. Last time against Dallas. Dallas goes to San Francisco and just can't do anything.
Yeah.
So they're crap. Kansas City has struggled over in the AFC. Miami Dolphins, who we praise as this great team, may not make the playoffs. No.
Yeah.
Buffalo can't hang on the ball. Everybody who we viewed as a contender at some point has struggled. Here's what the Lions have not done, and this may happen this week. They have not lost 2 in a row. Everybody else has. Now, they've looked crappy for 2 games in a row, but they haven't lost 2 games in a row. But this is this 2023 NFL season, to me, one of the most bizarre that we've seen. Because normally, when you're a title contender, this time of the year, you're on lockdown. We're kicking people's ass. We're having a good time. We're popping champagne because we know what's coming. Everybody who is a Super Bowl contender is worried right now. Everybody.
Yeah.
Now, the teams who popping champagne are teams like the Chicago Bears, and whoever's in that four-way tie for last place or first place, however you want to look at in the NFC South. It's just a bizarre year. 70% of games are decided by one score this year. Normally it's 40, 50%, but this year everybody's like, I'm not scared of you.
Yeah. So the key, you just got to get in and then make sure you're playing your best football when you get in, and it's anybody's ball game.
And I feel like part of that tone was set off by the first game of the season, the Lions going into Arrowhead and beating the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Why do you have to be afraid of them? They're not the big bad Chiefs. Go in there and get the job done, even if you haven't been winning.
Yeah.
Well, that game doesn't count as an asterisk.
Oh, right. No Kelsey, no Chris Jones.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to go with a 6 just because I believe it's lower than the 7 that you gave them. But I think that they deserve it after this game as a 6. Mm-hmm. And I'm leaning towards that because they always come back with a little bit more grit when you give them a lower score. So it's a hopeful 6.
Yeah.
It's a hopeful 6 that's the energy they need.
Yeah. You talked also real quick. You talked Terry about not losing two, and you usually say they haven't lost 2 in a row.
Correct.
They normally go on a win streak after they've lost a game. They've usually won 2 or 3 in a row. This is the first time that they haven't gone on a win streak. So that's something we want to look for after this loss. Can they run off 2, 3 in a row here? 3 will be tough because that would be Dallas the third game. But that's what they got to do.
Right. But the thing is, what I found this season, when the town is on fire, the Lions come back and play better. Mm-hmm. It's like clockwork.
It's that time. That time.
In the game and in the larger schedule. Because if something has been going wrong in the game, I mean, at least earlier in the season, not so much this past game, but we've seen them turn it around really quickly.
Yeah.
So hopefully that trend continues. Next question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how well did the Lions coaches perform against the Bears this game?
Terry?
5. They're just very mediocre. I thought young Matthew, when we were chatting this week, thought it was the worst coach game of the season. I said it's the second worst. I thought they were worse against the Baltimore Ravens. Because even though the Ravens are a better team, the Lions had no clue what was happening to them. The Ravens did some little wrinkles, and they were definitely not prepared for that. I think here they weren't prepared for the emotion of the Chicago Bears. They weren't mentally in it because all these dead ball penalties, and you have Hutchinson doing this thing, and they weren't there mentally.
Yeah.
And a lot of pro sports, and we don't talk about it a lot, but a lot of it is mental preparation and mental stuff.
Yeah.
And they weren't there.
They weren't. And that, I put a lot on the coaches. They were not being prepared for the game. I just think of it worse than the Ravens game, and it's like pulling teeth. They're both pretty poorly coached games. I just expected so much more out of them. The Ravens game did come after the high point after beating the Buccaneers. But I don't know. There's something about this game. The players didn't execute, which is why I'm going to give them a 5.5. I really wanted to go under 5.
What's up with you in the decimals?
I don't know. I just, fractions. Yeah, I like numbers.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I was between the 5 and the 6 on the last one, and I said, you know what? I'm going to stick with one number because if I choose a decimal point in between somewhere, Terry's going to call me out for it.
You will get called out.
God. Guys, when someone says scale of 1 to 10, pick 9, pick an 8. Don't go, 6.153 or something like that.
3.14959623.
Right.
He went to Cranbrook.
That's a private school. No, but seriously, I don't think this was Ben Johnson's best coach game. They all weren't prepared. The team wasn't prepared, so I put that on Dane Campbell, and they got to make a lot of adjustments. How can Jameson Williams only get 1 touch in a game? Like that's not just on Jared Goff. If you're the best OC in the league, which I still believe Ben is, even after a couple less than stellar games, you got to find a way to get the ball in his hands. You got to find a way to put your quarterback, who was struggling, in a better position. The only reason I'm not going under 5 is because the team really didn't execute. Even Amon-Ra St. Brown dropped a couple balls that are very, very unlike him. Ran a couple wrong routes. There's so many people to blame in this game. I'm not going to put it all on the coaches, all on Goff, but the coaches need to do a better job of having that team prepared. This is now the second NFC North team that has come back in the second game and been more prepared than you. That can't happen if you're going to be the elite of the NFC North. It just can't.
We need to figure out, why is Jared Goff ignoring Jameson Williams? Because the dude is open. He's the fastest guy on the field. Finally, we had our kumbaya moment where everybody said, I believe in him. He's our guy. He's our brother. He's all this, blah, 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 blah. You're still ignoring him. Mm-hmm. Why did you bring him in? To pop the cap off the defense or whatever. You brought him because he has a unique skill set that we haven't seen around here. Not even with Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson was fast, but he wasn't this fast. Calvin Johnson was big. He was strong. He beat you in different ways. Now, the Lions have dreamed about having a guy like Jameson Williams for decades. Even when Wayne Fontes was the coach, he wanted a guy like that and used to dream about a guy like this.
Yeah.
Now that you got him, it's like, we'll run him once or twice a game. No, you use him. That's why you brought him in.
Yeah. But because his speed is his best attribute, unlike Calvin Johnson, who is a very multi-dimensional. For all the reasons you said why Calvin Johnson's great, this is why Goff's arm shouldn't be a limitation in getting Jameson Williams the ball, because he's quick, because he's fast. He just needs to get it at any point around the line of scrimmage as early in the play as possible and let that man run. They haven't been doing that at all. They've tried the same end around now two weeks in a row. How about some more creativity? Find a way to get him on a slant, some kind of trick, anything. He just got to touch the ball at least 5 or 6 times a game.
You know what might be happening here? Maybe they're not going to J-Mo because they know that Jared Goff and his little ball.
That is the narrative going around, isn't it?
The little flutter ball can't get it. Maybe he can't get it to him.
His worst throw of the day was that one to Jameson Williams, regardless of the route that J-Mo ran.
Oh, the one that he was 15 yards short?
It was about 7, yeah. That was not a good throw. But there were other throws that people are saying are bad throws that were not. And he made that clutch third down throw to Sam Laporta. Not many quarterbacks in the league can make throws he can. He also can't make a lot of the deeper throws that other quarterbacks can. It's a give and take game, guys. That's why he got Ben Johnson, to make sure that he can get the ball in his weapons' hands, because he has so many weapons. It was also the offensive line's worst game. Not using that as an excuse for Jared Goff, but there were so many things that broke down in this game. So many.
I want to be the offensive coordinator for like 8 plays the next game.
Okay.
What would you run?
Just fly.
Fly.
Jameson, just fly. I saw what they did with Tyreek Hill. Said just fly.
Yeah.
They had him hiding behind the offensive line, and they just said go, bam. They seem to be able to find him.
Yeah.
Because he can just fly.
Just fly.
There's certain things you can't stop in this league. Speed is one of them. You can drag him down. That's a 15-yard or 20-yard penalty. You can try to beat him up. That's still a penalty. You can't stop speed. All you can do is turn around and try to keep up with him. But if the man is 5 yards in the open, may not be a touchdown, but it's a 30, 40-yard game.
Yeah.
Lions will take that.
Yeah, you can't stop speed, so get him the ball as fast as you can, not a 40-yard bomb. That's not the only way they can get J-Mo the ball. They got to find a way to do it in other spaces.
And what makes this even more, I don't want to use the word dumb, but dumb, is they're still running the football effectively.
Yeah.
So if you're running the football, there's a fear that they're just going to march 80 yards in 15 plays or whatever. So the defense is all tensed up. We got to stop the run. We got to stop the run. That's the mentality in the NFL. Then you just tell J-Mo after the 7th run, bro, just fly. We'll see you in the end zone. And you know what? We'll come up with some end zone celebration to get you more involved and stuff. Whether It's the roller coaster.
Oh, this weekend I saw the keg stand. That was fun.
I love it when you call him Big Papa. It's hardball.
Yeah, get him involved. Practice some end zone celebrations or something.
Here's the thing, though, J-Mo, he doesn't care about the end zone celebration. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, he does. He just leaped into the end zone on his last touchdown.
Yeah, but then he
broke his neck.
Then he doesn't think about anything. He just runs and finds his teammates.
No.
I'm not saying Brown's a dancer.
Yeah, I'm going to stop you because I'm here to educate you.
Let's hear it.
Wasn't he the guy at last touchdown? He leaps into the end zone?
Yeah.
That's a man who wants an end zone celebration, and he's not getting it.
I think that's a man who just wants to get in the end zone as fast as humanly possible. And at that moment, like when although it's stupid, it's like runners running into first base who think sliding there is going to get them faster. Just in that moment, J-Mo's going so fast. He did literally jump like 12 yards. He jumped from like the 5 or 6 yards into the end zone. It was wild. It was wild. It's the same reason Patrick Mahomes is talking at the end of the game and all these cameras are in his face. They catch him saying not so great stuff because in that moment, he let all his energy out and it didn't go very well. That's Jameson Williams running into the end zone.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give my quick temperature check on this scale. I'm giving them a 3.
Okay.
Because of that first drive that the Bears had. You knew they were going to do that from the moment that they took the ball. They did it last time. Other teams are catching on to this. We said it last week. You had all that time to prepare for that on defense, and that didn't happen from Aaron Glenn. And on the offensive side of the ball, you had Sam Laporta have a very good performance the game before. Did you not think that they weren't going to catch on to that and then have extra coverage on him in this game? Mm-hmm. And then you're still going to try and get him the ball. You see how much he's covered? Make an adjustment here and get it to J-Mo, who is more open. Because no one expects him to get the ball thrown to him, which he doesn't. And then my last little cherry on the cake right here was Dan Campbell coming out and saying that Ben Johnson called a fantastic game.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't pay attention to what coaches say about coaches.
Yeah.
They always protect them. They're always doing a great job. We in the media, the fans, whatever, never understand what they have to go through. Like, for instance, if you watch ESPN, whenever they have coaches on there and a coach gets fired, it's always, what is this team thinking? I know they've been 9-34 in the last 2 years, but this guy's doing a hell of a job. He doesn't understand. Don't listen to coaches talking about other coaches because it's always skewered. Ask yourself this. Gabrielle Dee Phillips.
Yes, sir.
Did Ben Johnson call a fantastic game?
No.
Okay. That's the only person you need to listen to.
Room for improvement.
Right.
Last question, kind of rapid fire here.
Be quick.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where does the Lions' level of fraudulence fall?
Ooh, the fraudulence word. I don't
think this is going to be that quick.
I'm going to say 3. I don't think they're fraudulent. Here's what happened. I think people here let their minds go crazy. Mm-hmm. They saw them win games, and I think in the public's mind, they're like, oh, this team can go to the Super Bowl. This is not a Super Bowl team. They're a good team. They're still developing. They still need a couple more drafts before I even would dare call them a Super Bowl caliber team. Now, they're a team that can threaten. They're a team that could challenge, but they're not a team that can go there.
Okay. I give it a 3 too.
Okay.
I do think they can go there, but not playing like they've been. I still remember how well they played, even in some of the lesser quality teams they played earlier in the season. I've seen them, click on all cylinders. While not necessarily a complete football game with offense, defense, and special teams at spurts, they've been great. So I still believe that's in them. They just need to make these adjustments, which they haven't necessarily proved that they've been able to make. And they need that offensive line to be healthy and ready to go, because when they've gotten away from their identity a little bit. When they can't run behind their offensive line or don't have confidence, protecting Jared Goff, things fall apart. This offense is what's going to carry them.
that's it for the first segment of On a Scale from 1 to 10. Now, I'm going to kick off the next segment with one more sliding scale question, but it's going to be about Mr. Jared Goff. So stick with us, and we're going to get into that conversation next.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider show here on Woodward Sports Network. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. Alongside me over there, that's Matt Broder. That's Matt Broder. And down there, that's Terry Foster. Thanks so much for tuning in to kick off your Tuesday morning, 7 a.m., bright and early. We're talking about Jared Goff in this segment, and I'm going to kind of segue from the last segment where we gave on a scale of 1 to 10. So, to kick this segment off, on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your belief that Jared Goff could receive a huge contract at this point? At this point.
So should the Lions give him a huge contract? Are they going to give him a huge contract, or just any huge contract from anybody? Just before we give you your answers.
Your belief that Jared Goff is going to receive a huge contract from the Lions.
Okay.
What's your definition of a huge contract?
You think more than $45 million? 45 or up?
All right, I'll tell you what it is.
A big contract.
All right. Save your breath. It's a 10. It's a 10. He will get a big contract. And I'm saying this right now at his lowest moment. In the NFL, when you commit to a quarterback, you got to commit to him all the way. You can't abandon the man right now. Because if you don't pay him, he walks. So now you've got Teddy Bridgewater or Hendon Hooker as your quarterback now. You're trying to win a championship. So is that what you want to do? Quarterbacks hold teams hostage. It's like, okay, I haven't been everything you wanted, but I'm the best you got. So I'm saying 10. He's getting paid.
Can I just follow up and say, do you think they should give him one?
Yeah.
For those reasons.
Yeah. I mean, you're stuck. You've built a team that in your mind, Terry doesn't think it's going to happen, but in your mind, you're contending for a Super Bowl. I'm not willing to bring in a backup quarterback or a rookie or a second-year man at this point. Jared Goff is the guy that you've selected. Jared Goff is the guy that, if this is going to work, he's going to carry you through. Tom Brady in his prime is not walking through that door. Aaron Rodgers is not going to say, I'm tired of New York. I want to go to Detroit.
Yeah.
So this is your guy.
Yeah.
So you got to pay him.
We do hope is that he does channel a little bit of that Tom Brady and realizes he needs a team around him. He needs an expensive offensive line for him to play his best and maybe earn more money down the line. Maybe he's made a decent amount of money. Maybe he's more intent on going to the Super Bowl. It all depends on sort of what Jared Goff decides. Unless he completely flames out these next 4 games and maybe flames out in a playoff game, I think he'll get a contract somewhere. There's so many teams searching for a high-level starting quarterback in the league. They don't need to be elite, but he's better than, at least 18 other quarterbacks playing right now. So he'll be wanted, and I do think he's the best quarterback for this team right now, but I don't think he's the best quarterback for this team at $45 or $50 million or more. I think he needs to realize that, again, he plays his best when they can utilize play action, when he has time in the pocket, which means his entire offensive line is healthy, which even a deep offensive line that they built this year is not healthy right now, and it's really impacting how he's playing and how this entire team's playing. So if as a man-to-man, I don't think he shouldn't take less money, but if he wants to do what's best for him and the Lions, he's got to allow this front office to build around him, and I don't know if they can do that with a $50 million quarterback. In fact, I'm pretty sure they can't.
He's not turning down $50 million.
Which is why it might not be with the Lions. Huh? It might not be with the Lions, that $50 million.
The Lions are stuck with Jared Goff.
For another year.
It's longer than that.
He signed for one more year.
No, I'm saying when you go through that they have to have him as their quarterback 3-4 years from now. The whole bridge quarterback thing is dead. He played well enough to not just be a 2-year bridge and then you get rid of him. He's played well enough where, okay, you're going to keep him because this is your best opportunity to win. And I'm talking about a championship. I'm not talking about winning ball games because that's been the Lions' mindset for years. If we get the right guys out there, we can win some ball games. Who cares about that? I don't care. Are you contending for a championship or not?
Yeah.
So if you get some, quarterback green behind the ears, you're taking a step back. But, on the other hand, what's going to happen with Jared Goff? He's not going to get a $60, $70 million contract. He's not going to be Lamar Jackson. He's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. But he's still going to get paid. At minimum, he will get in the $45 to $50 million range. That's the minimum.
Yeah.
So my next question is, do you think the number that Jared Goff is thinking about right now is lower than the number that he was thinking about at the beginning of the season? First game, second game. Has that number lowered as the season has gone on?
No. Because I think Jared Goff, as I think many quarterbacks in the league and in this team, I think they have a more bird's eye view of this entire season. We're right in the middle of it, so it feels like this bad stretch is all hell is breaking loose, and he's a bottom 5 quarterback in the league. But if you look at the big sample size, which I believe Jared Goff is doing, and I certainly hope his agent is doing, if I would hope my agent's doing that too. Look at the bigger scope of work, and he's played pretty darn well. He's earned a raise. How about that? The question is for the Lions, is giving him a raise, how much will that impact the rest of your team? How much will that impact what you can do with an offensive line? There are guys that they have to pay that they weren't expecting to have to pay the amount they'll have to pay, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, a 4th-round wide receiver who's going to maybe not reset the market, but he's going to be paid a lot more than maybe they expected when they drafted him in the 4th round. Sam Laporta, this is a couple years down the line. This is what he's got 3 more years after this, but I don't know if they expected a tight end to reset the market, which he will if he definitely keeps on this stretch. So there's so many things at play. I just hope Jared Goff realizes, we can win with him here. I believe that. I just think he needs an elite offense. He needs a top 3 offensive line for him to be at his best.
I'm going to agree with you. But I want you
to
put what you have to do. I agree with him a lot.
Occasionally.
I just don't like to say it out loud. But you have to put yourself in the mindset of an athlete. Even though we may not be satisfied with his performance, he's got his people saying, hey, look, bro, you're good. If this offensive line was doing what its job, you look a lot better. So I'm sure his people tell him, it's not your fault, bro. Circumstances have changed. You still good.
Yeah.
You can still lead this team to a championship, but now you need your teammates to play better. You can't have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who never drops the ball, drop 2 passes in the same quarter. This offensive line, who we've touted as the top 2 in the league and stuff, is not doing this job. It's not you. So we still going to get paid.
Yeah.
That's just going to be his mindset. That's probably what his people are telling him.
We're going to look ahead next as to what is to come next week this week, Saturday, short week, and maybe down the line for the rest of the Lions season in the next segment. This is Woodward and Main Street, brought to you by Les Stanford.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider Show here on Woodward Sports Network. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips alongside me, Matt Broder and Terry Foster to kick off your Tuesday morning, not a game day morning. But we're going to get into what's ahead for the Lions, their schedule, what's to come on Saturday, what's to come down the road. So my first question is, what is the ceiling of the Detroit Lions this season?
The ceiling for me hasn't changed. The ceiling for me is you win your division, you host a playoff game, you win that game, and then probably in the next round you get your ass kicked. I thought that from day one.
Yeah.
This doesn't change that.
Matt?
Yeah, I still want to believe that they have a chance to compete to win a Super Bowl, and I do think they can get there. The last couple of games, I'm going to lower my expectations a little bit and give them a ceiling of the NFC Championship, but it's a tough road. They got to turn a lot of things.
If you do that, I think that's a good step.
Yeah, it is. But I think what happens is when people have that fan dome in them, they want more.
Of course,
they expect more. They see little things and say, they're capable of doing this. But what you don't do is you don't factor in what other teams are doing too. Because I heard this the other day aren't the Lions supposed to be getting better during the season? And they are. They are getting better. What happens, other teams get better. So if they are getting better at a higher rate than you are, then it looks like your team is worse. So the Lions are not the only team trying to win a playoff game. They're still not the only team trying to win this division. Others are too.
Yeah.
They have not given up hope. Even when we thought they should have. But
the Lions are in great shape. They're in great shape in this wacky 2023 season.
Yeah.
Kind of a short week ahead. The game against the Broncos was flexed to Saturday night.
Nice.
Saturday night on NFL Network. And hopefully they don't regret putting the Lions against the Broncos in that prime spot. On Saturday Night Football, and hopefully they'll both show out and give everyone a great game to watch on Saturday night. But what should your top priority be if you were Dan Campbell this week? What is the #1 thing that you would address this week before Saturday comes?
All right, here's if I'm Dan Campbell, here's what I'm saying this week. Bitches, you ain't that good. So I need to see more. I need to see more up here. Physically, you guys are good. Blah blah blah, but I need you guys to tighten it up mentally. Can't be jumping off sides. Can't be 10 yards down the field when they're not going to your guy. You holding him 10 yards down, and then we get called for a penalty when we've already gotten things cleaned up on the other side of the field where the ball is. I don't need you over here screwing up when the ball's not even going over there. Mental focus.
Yeah. I'm going to say the trenches. The trenches. Their offensive and defensive line. They have to start playing their best ball of the year. The offensive line, they got to protect Goff, and they got to run the ball. I know they were somewhat effective running the ball in spurts in that Chicago game, but that's got to be their bread and butter. That's got to be their identity. It seemed they got away from it as soon as they went down. As soon as they had to climb out of a hole, they abandoned that run. They got to keep doing it, and it starts with that offensive line.
Dan Campbell does not have an easy job this week, and we want to see more aggression out of this team, but we also want to see them clean up those mistakes. So that's a really tight line to walk. How do you get that fire out of them without also leading them down a path of making more mistakes because of that fire? So not an easy job for Dan Campbell this week, but that is why he is the head coach, and we're just here to talk about him being the head coach.
No, they've been talking about this all year, and I know we're wrapping up now, but a lot of their messaging, especially around the defensive line and the linebacker coach, Kelvin Shepard and John Scott Jr., was playing with violence, playing with aggression, but doing so within the football game, almost controlled chaos. It seems, especially the last couple of weeks, and especially the Bears game, they just got a little outside of themselves, and that aggression, if it was there, it was causing penalties. It was causing them to play out of their bodies, and that just can't happen. They need to play near perfect ball to beat the best teams in this league. It's a possibility, but it's difficult. They can't have the penalties that they had in the Chicago game.
Hopefully they don't have those on Saturday night. We will be back here Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to kick off your Saturday Lions game day the right way with Woodward and Main Street here on Woodward Sports Network. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you Saturday morning. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, Terry Foster. Have a great Tuesday.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.